What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and today we are talking about how we came up with this awesome VFX effect on our spec commercial and how you can achieve the same looks for your own projects.
Sir, your monthly freedom dividend has come in. I've already paid off the mortgage bill and ordered the groceries. I've distributed the credits into your investment account.
Thanks, Jarvis.
Now within After Effects, you are going to need a few different plugins. One is from Red Giant and it's the Trapcode Suite. So you can check them out, go on their website and download that before we dive into the rest. So now we have After Effects. First step to creating Jarvis is we are going to come into here and create a solid layer. Let's name him Voice. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to find our audio file, drag it into our timeline. We're going to go into our effects and presets and we're going to search for sound keys. Next, it's going to drag that onto our top layer, voice, and you're going to see this guy appear. So what we're going to do here is just look at a waveform and see exactly what part of our audio track we want to animate. In our case, it was the entire voice file, so we're just going to animate the entire thing.
Paid off the mortgage bill and ordered the groceries.
That is Jarvis right there. What we have to do next is just link our graph to our audio. We just go to audio layer, select our source, which is going to be video mix Jarvis or whatever your audio is going to be titled. And as your sound plays,
Sir, your monthly freedom dividend has come.
Things will happen. Next, once you have this all loaded up, what you're going to do is grab this corner here. What we're selecting right here is just what part of the audio spectrum we want to be animating our little sphere.
I've already paid off the mortgage.
So in our case, what I'm going to do is just try this out, see how it works here. There's going to be quite a bit of trial and error for this part. Next, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating another solid layer. And we're going to entitle this guy Sphere. We're going to go back into our search for effects and presets and type in Tau. And we're going to take Tau, drag it onto here, and you should see this ring appear, okay? For the sake of not getting too confused here, we're just going to make our voice layer invisible. And we're just going to focus on this Tau layer here. So once you have your Tau layer loaded up, what you're going to do is just populate all of your parameters. So from materials and lighting, very, very important mark to hit is that you come into here and you select these under image-based lighting. So once we have the base for our Jarvis set up, what we need to do now is link it to our audio. Before we link our sphere to our audio, what we have to do is just take a look and see exactly how much we want our sphere to dance as the audio moves, right? So what we're going to do here is go into fractal displacement. Under fractal displacement, you're going to type a random value, 100, and this will show you exactly at the peak of your audio as like the highest or the highest point of your audio, what your sphere will look like. So if I go 300, you can see it gets crazier and crazier as we scale up. 5 is extremely high, so I think for our purposes, I'll probably, I don't know, we could leave it at 250. Okay, we'll leave it locked in at 250, and that's the widest I think I'd want mine to jump, but this could be very different for all of you. So we're just going to take a mental note of that, set it back to there 0. Our value is going to be 250 for amplitude, and we're going to come back to that in a second, okay? With that 250 value, what we're going to do is come back to our sound keys in our voice layer, hit sound keys, we're going to go to range 1. We're going to set this fall off to exponential. We're going to have our fall off time set to half a second, and our input or output, sorry, minimum and maximum, we're going to set to custom. Our minimum is going to be 0 because we want our animation to come back to here, and our maximum, we are going to put our value of 250. We're going to keep this output 1 opened up here. So we're going to open up our voice. We're going to go to our effects, our sound key. We're going to go to our range 1. Next, we're going to come to our sphere. We're going to go to our amplitude. We're going to double click our amplitude option. Click on this little swirly icon. Come all the way down. My list is going to be so much longer than yours because we have everything open, but we're going to drag this to the output 1 on our sound keys layer. What that is going to do is it's instantly going to set our keyframes to link our sphere to our audio. And now, as we play through, you'll see that our dance is a little bit to our voice. You're gonna have to go back into your voice layer, go to your sound keys, just kind of make this visible again, and you're gonna have to play around with your amplitude and your minimum and maximum values to get the right desired amount. The effect is very underwhelming. So if you want to give more or less of a dance, depending on your audio, what you can do is come into scale. You can increase the scale. What that does is that now your graph kind of dances much more. What I'm going to we're going to keep it here at 250. And you may notice that nothing seems to be changing, even with the higher scale. And that is because you don't want to forget to click apply. Clicking apply, what that does is just, take that new scale, whatever your changes were, and it applies it to your sphere. So now Jarvis is Jarvising. He's definitely moving about. That's pretty much how we synced Jarvis to our sound. We're gonna get rid of our graph. And this is our base for Jarvis. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna pre-compose it and just call it edit Jarvis, because anything that we do here is going to ultimately edit Jarvis. So we have this pre-composed, and this is our edit Jarvis layer. So any changes that we want to make to Jarvis, we come back in here and we can make those changes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate my sphere layer, and I'm going to, name it sphere 2. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to open up and change a few parameters in our tau layer. So path generator, I'm going to probably drop this down to maybe 60. So now we have a sphere within a sphere. And what I'm going to do now is come down into our shader, very important. And in terms of our draw, we're going to select wireframe. This is going to give us that wiry interior that we've seen before. I want that to be inside. I'm going to just take the sphere, put it around the outside of that, change our blending modes to screen. Inside sphere, and again, do the same, change it to screen. What that's going to do is now it's going to give our animation some more depth, especially if I make our timeline full resolution. Instead of it just being a bubble, I really wanted to blend this sort of synthetic AI presence with a little bit of organicness. And yeah, that's ultimately our base for Jarvis. So next, what we're gonna have to do, we're gonna take Jarvis and we're gonna get to this point here where Jarvis is in our entire timeline. Sweet, so we have our base for Jarvis built. He's dancing to our voice, and we want to put it into our final composition and ultimately have this as our final result. This is super easy. I mean, if you used After Effects before, what you can do now is take these layers and pre-compose them. This is now our pre-comp. We're going to change that to edit Jarvis. So now, if you ever want to edit Jarvis, we come in and we change the parameters here. So what we have here now, we have our video file that we want Jarvis to sort of be playing over, and that's kind of like coming out. We're going to fast forward to where he's supposed to come as Jarvis is supposed to come in here. We're going to hit B on our keyboard and end, so we just play. So we're going to take our Jarvis and we have him in our timeline here. On Jarvis, change this blending mode to screen, and now we have a Jarvis that we can scale and place according to where we want it. And now we're able to sort of scale him. So if you notice, Jarvis is very faint. So all I'm going to do here is copy this, paste it back over, and give Jarvis a bit more presence. We are simply just going to take this, recompose, so that now we have Jarvis's presence. We can do the fun stuff, we can animate it. So what I wanted to do here, expands and pops up as it comes in, and then, you guys are gonna kind of do your own thing, but we're gonna then, kind of add a few other animations where you sort of go to far right, maybe a little bit far left, and then we can kind of hit F9 on our keyboard for some of these so that it ramps in and out. Take this a bit further. I'm just going to go to the final composition. I'm going to kind of run you guys through all the effects that we use to really get Jarvis blend in with our scene here. So we did things like add some curves, add a glow. The parameters are all here for you guys to take a look at and experiment with. We took that glow, we duplicated it, so again, it's twice as strong in our scene. I went ahead and added a wiggle so that, Jarvis is just not frozen. He's kind of hovering around in that one spot without, having to keyframe each and every one of those positions. We did a bit of a transform. What I really liked here was the camera blur that we added in. So in our final composition, as we rack focus into our talent, Jarvis comes out of focus and comes back into focus when he needs to. So that was a really cool thing that we added on there. And finally, one of my favorites, this sort of star glow effect that is a part of the Trapcode suite that kind of blooms the highlights a little bit so that it can come in and match our scene, because in our scene as well. So it really just, at the end of the day, it just really comes in and blends it nicely. Yeah, we did things like add this whole beam of light that kind of comes in from our upside down candle holder. And then we kind of just went in and fine-tuned, added elements like this reflection to really sell this animation being here. And again, the second we go to full resolution, you can see that it really does mesh in with our scene quite well. And then once all these elements are into our final timeline, we add things like lumetri color, Gaussian blur again, just to, you know, come in and tweak it. So, you know, lumetri color helps us get that blue that we wanted our AI character to have. And then again, we have Jarvis doubled up here. The blurs and the lumetri color just help to really dial in our look over here. And then we have the same sort of thing on our reflection layer. So there you have it. We created Jarvis from scratch. I show you guys how to take audio and use it to motivate your shapes so that, you know, they can contract and expand as your audio kind of scales in volume. If you like these types of videos, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're doing these videos weekly. And yeah, I guess we'll catch you on the next one.